Entrepreneur Ravindra Pai always knew that he would join the family business eventually. However, when he finished his engineering, he chose to join the technology industry and work as a techie. Let's find out why. Ravi, welcome.
Thank you, Jayashree.
Ravi, why did you join the technology industry, and help me understand how that beginning has affected your career now?
Well, as you mentioned, I always knew that I would join the family business. But after my education, I wanted to pursue getting into a large organization. So I did my engineering in electronics and communication. After that, I was lucky enough to be recruited from campus into Tata Infotech those days. So I worked as a programmer for a couple of years, which gave me good experience while I gave my interview for the CAT to get into IIMs. Well, I got selected from all the IIMs. Eventually, I chose IIM Bangalore to do my, the PG DBM 2-year course. Again, I was lucky enough to be recruited by Oracle. Again, the technology industry, but this time I was really selling technology, so it was on the sales side. This experience gave me a lot of exposure into large organization working, in terms of systems, processes, people management, and I felt that I was able to bring this value into my family business when I eventually joined.
Ravi, you're a fitness enthusiast, so help me understand, how do you maintain your fitness regime?
Well, I've been a sports enthusiast right from my childhood, playing cricket for school, badminton at the club level, and then I was an avid squash player, so I finished, I was ranked number 2 in the state in '99. Of course, these days more recreational, reasons that I play. But I like to even today get like an hour of yoga to start my day. It sort of relaxes me. I feel that's like my time, in the day before you get into a hectic work schedule. And 2 or 3 times a week, I still try to play squash, or I like to stay active. I also love to watch sports, it could be any kind of sports. Whenever I find time, I love to watch a lot of sports also.
And your kids?
Well, they're usually into soccer. They love watching soccer. Like I mentioned, we sort of also spend time in the weekends, sort of kicking the ball around. So it's a lot of fun.
An avid reader, Ravi makes time to read every day. Ravi, tell us about your reading habits.
Well, before going to bed, I make it a point to read for an hour. It just relaxes me, takes my mind off, the work or the day. Primarily read a lot of non-fiction. I like to read about biographies, autobiographies, business management books. Of late, I've been reading a bit of Indian history. just to understand the context and various and diverse views. I think it sort of just gives me a different perspective.
Tell me about some of the books that impressed you.
Oh, I can name plenty. But I've really enjoyed reading the Steve Jobs and Elon Musk book. Both have been role models to me, guys who've influenced various industries. Another book that has really influenced me has been Starting with Why by Simon Sinek. It talks about a purpose in an organization, which is a lot more important than the product or what we do, which we typically tend to talk to our customers about what we do, but we rarely talk about why we do it.
Ravi, with such a hectic work schedule, how much time do you get with your children?
Well, I have 2 young boys, 8 and 5. Both of them wake up early to go to school, and by the time I get back home, they're asleep. So pretty much right through the week, I don't get to spend much time with them. Of course, in the weekends and holidays, I make it a point to sort of spend time with them. They're both usually into soccer, so we play a bit of football over the weekend. I sometimes take them to classes, if they have any football class or a swimming class on weekends. So it's pretty much the time that we get to spend during weekends or on holidays.
What's a typical family holiday for you?
Well, we try to take a break at least once in 6 months. Short vacations, maybe 3 days, 4 days, maybe a beach destination. The boys love the pool, so we tend to go wherever the water is. And like I said, we somehow make it a point that at least once in 6 months we take a break.
So Ravi, what's your ideal holiday?
So for me, an ideal holiday is a beach vacation, maybe sitting by the beach, read a book. I already mentioned that I like reading. Pretty much do nothing. I think I like to relax. So for me, a relaxing beach holiday is an ideal vacation.
And what does your wife do?
Well, she's an educator, a very passionate educator, I must say. So she runs our school. We have about 3,000 students. Incidentally, it's ranked very, very high. In fact, in the recent ratings, we were ranked number 3 in Karnataka. So she's also pursuing a PhD in education with USC. So again, her timings are quite weird, because she's working the US timing. So she wakes up at 2 in the morning, and sometimes she's asleep even before I come home too. She's of course a very hands-on mom, so she spends the rest of the day sort of really picking up the kids, dropping the boys, taking them to classes. So again, we are pretty much a weekend couple, if I have to say so.
And you give the weekends free to her?
Yeah, we spend time together as a family over in the weekend.
Ravi, you live with your father, you work with your father. Help us to understand your relationship with your father.
Well, I mean, I would say that we have a very formal relationship, a very traditional father-son relationship. I think there's a lot of mutual respect. While for me he's a role model, I've respected him growing up. At the same time, I feel that he sort of respects my views and my thoughts. One of the things that I've been very, very grateful to him is that he's given me a lot of leeway in terms of the choices that I wanted to make. Be it in terms of the courses I wanted to pursue, jobs I wanted to take. And even when I joined the business, he treated me as an equal, gave me opportunities to sort of maybe make mistakes and learn. Lot of leeway really growing up,
And what kind of values has he inculcated in you which you are bringing to the business?
He's a hugely successful person, but at the same time he's been very, very grounded, So I think that's a value that I've inculcated growing up from both my parents actually. They're both very, very grounded human beings. He's also very, very compassionate, and I mentioned to you, he likes to meet a lot of people, and I think that's also a source for his success. He interacts with so many people that he keeps getting so many opportunities and deals that come by just doing, meeting people. So these are the sort of attributes that I've sort of respected and valued as I grew up.
What about your mother? She spends a lot of time with the kids?
Oh, she loves, she loves I think any other grandmother would, She was most happy actually when we sort of moved back into our house, once my elder son was born. She got a lot more time to spend with them, and she really loves the time with them.